Jan and I were visiting her parents' farm out at 61st and Wanamaker, just east of where Washburn Rural High School is. We were in town from Lawrence, where we were students at KU, to make the final plans for our wedding, which was to take place 4 days later on June 12th in Topeka. And while we were eating, we just started eating, the siren came over the radio, and then the announcer came on saying that a tornado had been spotted on the ground southwest of Topeka that sounded pretty close to where we were there on the farm. So we all got in our vehicles. We all drove up to the intersection of 61st and Wanamaker. We figured once we got there, we had blacktop road in 4 directions, so no matter which way the tornado was coming, we could drive away from it in any direction. And we got up to the corner, we looked to the west, and we saw a huge, almost like a hydrogen mushroom cloud off in the distance. It was, I think, probably actually about 2 or 3 miles away, but it looked like
it was right.
It looked a lot closer. It looked like it was more like a half a mile away. So we sat there and watched it, and as it traveled northeast toward Burnett's Mound, and we watched it until it crossed 61st Street up by Burnett's Mound. Jan's father and her brother and I all got in the pickup truck and drove out to Auburn Road to see if anybody needed help. First encountered a couple of newer ranch houses that were built right next to each other on the west side of Auburn Road, and both houses were demolished. We yelled to see if anybody responded. The first house, nobody responded, so we moved over to the second house. As we were yelling, a couple came up from the basement. Now their house looked like a giant had just kind of scooped their house up and squished it into a big pile and dropped it back down on top of the subfloor of the house. The only thing left standing of that house was the garage. They had a single car attached garage. Their car inside the garage had been moved all the way over to the left-hand side of the garage up against the garage wall, and all of the chrome was stripped off the car, which I thought was interesting. I went in the garage and looked at it. All the chrome was missing, the chrome trim from the car. So anyway, we were yelling, and finally this couple came up they had hid down the basement, so they came upstairs, and we were talking to them, and they were asking us if we knew what happened to the couple that lived next door. She was kind of friends with the lady that lived next door, and had told her if there was ever a tornado to come over to their house to hide in the basement, because they did not have a basement over there at their house. So while we were talking to them, a couple of young men stopped and said that they had found a car out in the field a ways away, all smashed up with a couple inside. It turned out it was the couple that lived next door.
That was the Wolfes.
Instead of coming over to their neighbor's house like they'd been invited to do if there was ever a tornado, they had tried to get away in their car, and the tornado apparently picked the car up, carried it out into the field west of their house, and smashed it up and killed them. And so the couple we were talking to, the wife became almost hysterical, crying and everything, and saying, why didn't they come over here? They would have been safe. 4 days later, we were married in the First Congregational Church here in Topeka.
Well, because we had been in KU in Lawrence, and I had not been home a lot to get some of the final preparation. I did not have my going away suit. We were going to go downtown and nice shop in downtown Topeka, but we couldn't go there. So we went to this shop in North Topeka, which we never had shopped in, but Mom thought maybe there would be something. We found this lovely pink suit, which I've got this picture that's what I wore, and I was able to wear that a long time. Just loved it. But I know it's just really something. But for us, we saw the tornado in a different angle than many, and we were very fortunate to not be injured. That's all.